everyone, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Career Chronicles, where we take you into a career journey, navigating through different industries, different buildings, different career paths, and so much more. This is your hub for all things to do with careers, and I am your host, Pukuriatfa. Today, I am so excited to take you guys on another adventure where we will be having a spotlight segment highlighting trailblazers in the industries that they're in. We, of course, also have expert advice coming up and local resources. So we have a jam-packed schedule and so much to see and learn. So without any further ado, welcome to Career Chronicles. Let's check this out.
Welcome back, viewers. As I said, we are joined today by a special guest, that is Virginia Shitemitha from the National Housing Enterprise, that is NHE. She is a sales consultant and she has been working for the company for quite a number of years. Virginia, welcome to the show.
Welcome, thank you.
Yes, let's just go down memory lane and just tell us how your upbringing was. How did you get to this part?
A tough question. My upbringing. I grew up with my grandparents. I never grew up with my own parents. I only met my biological parents in the late 80s. How I get to NHE, as a young girl after matric, you know, the unemployment rate and what have you. I happened to be employed by NHE. I started as a cleaner, if you may know, on casual basis. I used to come in and go whenever they need assistance. I was called in, and later on, whenever they need a receptionist and a cashier, I was also called in. That's how I get to know NHE. And later on, they advertised a clerical position that was in safe custody. Applied, but then I did not come first. I came second. So the first candidate was given the first offer, and then there was a vacancy open as a cashier that was offered to me because they're all clerical. So I started as a cashier at NHE head office. Later on, because I was doing many ad hoc tasks from my seniors, and there they saw potential in me, and I was later then transferred to the Katutura office, where I used to be a back office cashier that was working with the stockholders of the organization countrywide. And I think that is in brief.
I mean, that is quite extensive. I mean, myself, I'm quite young. Obviously, there is a huge age difference, but could you just tell us how times were like back then? You know, how did you actually manage to balance between, you know, as you said, you were a cleaner, but also at the same time you worked on the other side just to meet ends meet? How was that during that period?
I mean, balancing my work and
Yes.
my personal life. To balance, I should say, I always believe in making meaningful impact. So when I have to work, there's a drive in me that says, whatever you're doing for the next person should have an impact. So selling a house or being in the housing industry, to me, it means a lot. It's beyond just selling a house, because it goes along building a relationship. To me, when I'm selling, I'm not just selling for sake of its sale concluded, because I need to establish a relationship, because remember that person is repaying a loan over 20 years maximum. So you will know that person for long, that person will engage with the organization for long. It's not a once-off thing. And what it means to own a house, the happiness that goes with that. So that's how I balance it, because I tell myself it's not the end. The sale is not the end. There's a relationship to be maintained, and I'm also part of that relationship.
Yes. I mean, of course, with triumphs, there also comes a lot of challenges, you know, especially when dealing with clients. You know, maybe sometimes some clients might lose their house and whatsoever. Just how do you get to communicate or speak to clients in this regard?
when the challenge is from the client side.
Yes, let's say for instance they may be struggling to pay off the house and what so forth.
Remember, NHE is a government institution, and at the point of sales, we make sure and we explain the terms and conditions of owning a house, what it entails. So it's so easy, or maybe not say the word easy, in absence of a proper word, I will say clients, they are welcome to come to us and sketch their scenario, what they are going through. Of course, the different department will go to them and issue red letters and to warn them about them falling in arrears. But yes, there is a room for discussion. We will look at you. What is the challenge? Is it maybe you lost a job, or can you not bring in your child, or what can we do? We have to hear from you, and what we're getting from you, we can employ that into our current policies, although you are held accountable for the repayment of the loan, unfortunately. But yes, there is a room for discussion. We are open to listen to you, and knowing the market, we will be able to see how we can assist you.
So, okay, let's head over now to the workspace environment. What do people see Virginia as you step into the office? What do people regard you as? Are you the fun type? Are you the one that's closed off?
Without saying much on that, I will leave that to the next person, because there's a saying in my language that say you will never know about yourself. But I will regard myself as a team player. If you watch soccer, you will know about those Messi. Them, if they are absent, you will notice that they are not there. That is the type of Virginia. If I'm not there, it doesn't mean the work will stand, but my presence or my absence at that moment will be noticed. It's not to say things cannot work or work will stand, but everybody will feel my absence. Yeah.
And also, I mean, you mentioned that you're also a mother yourself, but any words of encouragement or advice to the young professionals seeking to find their feet, especially in the corporate world?
Corporate world?
Yes.
Can you rephrase perhaps?
Let's say, for instance, people that just graduated or people that just matriculated from high school and they don't know what to do, and maybe they want to find their feet somewhere in institutions like NHE or Network Media Hub or something else. Any words of encouragement?
Okay, I will say everything is advanced now. We have technology. The young people are fortunate. Everything is at their doorstep. I think you should do something that you have passion for, because working, it's not like it's an integration of many factors, and especially in my industry where you have to serve the client. So you must have passion. You must have that drive in you to serve that person, not for the sake of just income. So I will advise everyone. Schools now these days are having career fairs where they determine which field to go for or to study for. Do something that flows with you, that goes with your personality, that goes with your strength. Don't just, because we need, like I said in the beginning, in this industry, we are impacting life. It's beyond the house, it's a home, subsequent the wealth. Many things will fall after. So that first impression you are doing in your career, choosing to go for nursing, perhaps, you must have that patience, because working on a sick, paining person, it should also go with your personality. You must be able to have empathy for that. I think, if I have answered.
I mean, that is definitely that, and to all the young professionals who are looking to find their feet, I mean, you've heard that from Virginia. So she said, do or seek, or rather chase something that you have a passion for. I mean, at times it might be difficult to always find your passion, but, time will tell. But that unfortunately brings us to the end of this segment. But I just want to thank you personally for coming onto the show. It was really a pleasure having you here. It was quite insightful just to hear your side of the story as well, and hopefully it serves as inspiration to those that are coming up. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, to our viewers, that brings us to the end of this segment. So do stick around and we'll see you right after the break.
Hi, my name is Aina Shangeta and I am a brand and projects manager at ONL Brand X. I manage about 11 brands at the moment, so very jam-packed. But my primary job is basically project management. I run campaigns, or I assist with events, and just making sure that whatever our brands are experienced in trade, we control some sort of that narrative out there. Yeah.
Okay, I know you mentioned that you deal with 11 brands. Just what strategies do you have in place to meet the deadlines?
Deadlines are my bread and butter, and I have to meet them because of the fact that I have so many brands to manage on a daily basis. I have to make sure that, look, you have to understand that brands are like people. So they communicate differently, they talk differently, they show up differently, and you have to experience them differently. So deadlines are a part of my everyday job. I need to make sure that it's managed in such a way that it doesn't clash, but I pride myself on always making the deadline.
I mean, you've been in the corporate space for quite a number of years. Just what are some of the skills that are required for such a position, and what are some of the skills that you've acquired over the years?
I think the main skill to have as a project manager is being organized. So if you're organized and you pay attention to detail, is very, very important, because that way you can run project, that way you can stay on top of your deadlines, that way you can stay on top of deliverables. You need to love an Excel sheet. I love me an Excel sheet and a to-do list. So that's very, very important, that you stay organized, you plan, you follow up, you don't let other people think, or you don't leave it in other people's hands, but make sure that you follow up, because you remain the brand owner, or the owner of the brands that you manage. Yeah.
Okay, and the fact that you're dealing with 11 brands, obviously you will have to have a team to accompany you. Just also, how do you make sure or ensure that the message is sent through to the team for them to execute the task?
Yeah, I think also very important, an important skill to have is people management when you're a project manager, because you need to make sure that the message that you're receiving from client is specific and it's clear, in order to cascade that to the team, whether that's digital, whether that's media, whether that's strategy. Everybody needs to be involved, so you need to make sure that the messaging is always clear and that you have people skills.
Okay, well, I'm still fascinated by the fact that you deal with 11 brands. Just tell us more about when it comes to brainstorming. Do you guys perhaps, I don't know if you guys deal with a large group, but just how do you guys come to conclusion in terms of now having a final idea?
Yeah, like I said, I think about the brands as people, and you treat people differently because they show up differently and they act differently, right? So brainstorming sessions you always have to think about the ethos of the brand. If I give an example of my favorite brand, Oshikandela, you have to understand Oshikandela as a brand, so almost like as a person, in order for you to be able to deliver, to stay on message. At the moment, we are running the campaign called My Oshi Time. And my Oshi Time is finding those moments of joy and pleasure and calmness in the ruffle and the shuffle of everyday life, So knowing and understanding what each brand is or who they are makes you, or is easier to organize and deliver on brand all the time.
Okay, and can you just touch on some of the challenges that you guys have faced, perhaps in terms of now perhaps not satisfying some clients, because obviously at times you find that some clients might not be happy with certain projects. So just how do you deal with that? Yeah,
my boss does not accept anything but excellence, so we have to stay on our toes all the time. I think for me is I try and remain teachable, because we live in a world where if I have to talk about the fast moving consumer goods portfolio that I help manage, is you constantly have to evolve, and you constantly have to think, what are the learnings that you have gotten from a previous campaign, or what you have discussed yesterday. So that's constant evolving. I'm not gonna say that we fail, because my boss does not tolerate failure. We constantly learn. So the challenges are just that, because of fast moving consumer goods, it's in its nature to constantly move, right? So you constantly have to evolve, and you constantly have to try and see what makes sense, what doesn't, and all those type of things. And when you're also dealing with food, it's very important that you stay flexible but organized.
Okay, and to those young professionals, that they've just graduated or are still finding their feet, looking to indulge in a similar path as you, just what word of advice would you give to them?
Understand what you want. For me, I've always known that I wanted to be in commerce. I just didn't know exactly where. But in my first year, I figured that marketing is where I wanted to be. Until I also learned that there's so many spaces and places to be in marketing. Like when you walk through our office, there's strategists, there's creatives, there is copywriters, there is media managers, events, all those type of things. So for me, and brand marketing, of course, but for me, it was important to understand where you want to be, and when you know that this is where you want to be, you work towards that. And a very close friend also recently told me this, there's so much power in mentorship. So find somebody that has done what you want to do, learn from them so that you don't make the same mistakes, and just continue at it. Rome was not built in one day, but you'll get there. Yeah.
Speaking of Rome and speaking of quotes, just to conclude things, could you perhaps tell us one quote that you live by every day?
I love Maya Angelou's Still I Rise. Still I Rise is such a profound way of constantly knowing that through the challenges and through the ups and the downs of life, you will always rise. So I live by the motto that no matter what, I will always rise. It will always work for me. I just have to come through that, the down, in order to come up again. So yeah, that's my favorite quote.
Hi, how are you guys doing? Welcome to Hansen and Hansen. Let me show you around. Here we have our printing setup, wide format printing, coral draw designs, and laser cutting currently at the moment. Rebranding a go-kart for somebody. So we just see with the design. Say hello. This is our embroidery setup. Currently we run two different kinds of embroidery machines. One is Racoma, one is Japan. All the work, the printing work gets done, and the heat pressing and the graphic cutouts. Here's our admin administration office. Here's our manager, Rosalia, and she's been with us from the start. Hi, my name is Delano Hansen, founder and CEO of Hansen and Hansen. Embroidery. So around 2016, I had an idea in my head. I wanted to do something, to do some caps and do some embroidery on them, and as a sideline, because at the time I was working at the bank and in the IT industry. So I wanted to do something on the side, something extra to earn a little bit more extra money. And I started with sourcing some caps and doing some embroidery and doing that outside the borders, so bringing in caps and having guys doing embroidery from outside. It was always a problem getting things on time and so on. So I had the idea in 2018 to get financing for my first embroidery machine, and I started in my mom's garage and as an after-hours job, and later on it just it grew to the point where I couldn't do my 9 to 5 and still do my after-hours job that was now not becoming a hobby anymore, but mainstream of income. And so around about 2022, I decided to jump ship and went full into my business alongside with my wife, and we've been running the business until. Yeah, I must say I was pretty naive when I started out. I wasn't aware of the competition, for example, and against the companies I would be competing against and so on. It was purely just passion that something, because of my creative spirit, I suppose, that I have. I just wanted to do something that I enjoy pretty much. So yeah, it's difficult once you're in it, and then you start to see that you've actually got a lot of other companies that do the same thing as you do. I suppose what differentiates you from most is your attention to detail and being able to deliver a product that the customer actually wants and expects. And I think that's what's been keeping us afloat. Yeah, we welcome feedback, a lot of positive criticism all the time. I reason that if somebody doesn't tell you, or people don't come back with things that they may be not happy with and inform you, how will you know? You wouldn't know. So that actually allows us to grow and improve. So I welcome criticism all the time. In fact, if I don't get feedback, I go out of my way to try and find out from the customer, how did you receive, what was the quality of service you got, and so on. So obviously, in any industry there would be some comebacks, and we just try to improve on that and go. A lot of the time, I'm inspired on what goes on in the rest of the world. I enjoy traveling. I like exposing myself to places, traveling across the borders and so on, see what's going on in the rest of the world. And I guess what's hype, and my kids, I suppose, also a lot of times come to me and with bright ideas and so on, so we look into that. But my creativity, I suppose, is driven by the fact that, you imagine just having something that didn't exist before, didn't exist yesterday, and here you've created something that exists now in the world. So very driven by that. And yeah, funny story is that all our employees that we have, a staff complement, is people that we've literally just if I may use the word, for lack of better vocabulary, that we've taken off the street. Some of the people that work here were what we call house executives, cleaning house, and we were able to empower our staff, a lot of our staff, to be able to work on these machines and have a skill, so that by tomorrow, if they decide to part ways for whatever reason, they actually have a skill, and have something to put on the CV. So we pride ourselves in empowering the fellow men. A lot of people that have worked here have come literally from the community around. You've seen a couple of kids maybe playing in the streets and so on, and after school they didn't have anywhere to go, and you could see just by observing them through the years growing up, you could see, okay, this kid's got potential and so on, and we try to give them a chance. So we thrive. We pride ourselves. Yeah, I suppose, I think at a late age of mine, I realized that, it's doing something that you don't really enjoy, you don't have a passion for, might put bread on the table for a little while, but I think it frustrates you more than anything. It frustrates you more than anything, and a lot of times you don't have the financial support as what you would like. I think for me, I'd say just start and don't be ignorant. There's a lot of established places out there that want to help the SME, the small and medium enterprises, to develop. I've only recently been exposed to these sort of companies that want to help.
Definitely, done well for yourself. Definitely inspiration to the young. It gets to show that it's never too late to start. So I'd just like to thank you definitely for coming on to our show today.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate you guys taking out the time to come see me. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, that is all that we have for this week's episode of Career Chronicles. But please do not forget, we will be right here, same time, same place next week. Please do check out our social media platforms. That is Careers Hub NMH, for all of the behind the scenes and all of the exclusive content that we do get when following these journeys. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name was Pukuriatfa, and I will see you guys next week. Goodbye.